How do we quantify life, and what measure a tool can be used to prove its worth? How easily a life can be taken and dismissed even before one's birth. Thomas, born in 82, of parents who well-to-do, primped and groomed of a life of royal sublime, the highest education, Ivy League schools that are geared to, well, enhance the mind. And on his way to the upper class of the prominent and elite, he met a girl of low class, broken, living on the streets. It was a cold February night, and she was pedaling on the highway, left hand holding her jacket, right shaking change at a paper cup at the light. She walked up to his Lexus, shivering, "Sir, do you have change to spare?" Without a second look, he rolled his eyes and turned his music up without a care. And as he listened to his Beethoven's Fifth Symphony with delight, he wondered, will money even change this girl's life? She'd probably smoke it or shoot it into her veins, or some other addictive habit. You know, these people, they are all the same. But just then, he heard a tap on his window. And with her palm out, it read simply this: "Please help." And as he stared at her palm, he couldn't help but notice the cuts on her wrist. How far had this girl fallen, and what led to her inevitable demise? Was she a product of her environment, or was she about to take him along for a ride? And just then, the light had turned from red to green, and she began to fade to black like the subtlety in any movie scene. But this wasn't a movie. I mean, this was real. Yet with all his education, Thomas felt it difficult to empathize to what this young girl did feel. I mean, what was her story? And could he even relate to her ordeal? So feeling morally obligated, he took a deep breath and turned the wheel. As he pulled his car over to his shoulder, foot on the brake, car in drive, his window down, he yelled, "You get some food for yourself, here's a 5. And as she drew close, head down and sunken eyes, she said in a soft voice, I know you're trying to help, but I want to live, not just survive." And with confusion in his eyes, Thomas said, you want to live, not just survive? Listen, I ain't trying to change your life. I'm just trying to help you get by. And she said, "Sir, what you call getting by is what you physically see. No disrespect, but I don't need your pity or your so-called generosity. If you give me a moment, I can introduce you to the real me." And that's when she lifted her head and said, "To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler to suffer in the mind the slings and arrows of outrageous fortunes, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing and them, to die, to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 shocks that this flesh is heir to. See, I've thought about my life and my death with great care. I once was a student that studied the great masters, Agatha Christie and William Shakespeare. So while you sit and judge from your lofty seat, you need to know that in life, money holds no guarantee. And yes, I have lived ballet classes at Juilliard to my studies at Harvard and abroad, but when my father died of AIDS, you can imagine all was lost, and I was never the same. So now I ponder life and all it brings. Reciting Shakespeare has become my holistic medicine. And I talk to the homeless, and I hear their pain. I learned how they're like us, one and the same. I mean, not the same in class, but of mind and soul. And although they live in dark shadows, their hearts shine sometimes brighter than gold. But their shortcomings, they've led them astray. Disease, addicts, broken vessels that from a distance appear to just drink their lives away. Citizens who once went to church and prayed, now they're mocked and criticized by fools every day. So before you judge by what you physically see, you need to know that I did this originally to receive my PhD. And these people, they're more than just some study. They're flesh and blood, like you and me.
Give it up for Ben.